Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. And on tonight's episode, I am joined by a really good friend and a new person that we haven't really spent any time with other than till night, which is really kind of cool because they're in Kittens Who Say Meow. Now, playing on the bar, we have Cypher Deck.
Hey, this is Cypher Deck.
And I am on my warrior, who's level 40. He's in a hell level, but it's going fairly decently when the mobs are coming. I mean, it's kind of interesting with the group makeup that we have. We have two warriors and a bard. You would think that wouldn't be the greatest group ever, but between the two warriors, especially considering the other one's a level 46 and is able to pretty much tank these guys without too big of a problem, Bard Song healing in the background has been not just acceptable, but actually quite nice. It's probably a little bit better than what a paladin or ranger would be able to do at this level, considering their heals aren't very good and they'd be healing a warrior. That's like worst case scenario for somebody who doesn't want to play a healer and is kind of stuck in that role, to have a warrior as your tank. Just
Yeah.
it just shows how little you're healing. Really, it's horrible for a cleric, too. Like, with a cleric, you start to feel uber at some point. You get greater healing. Not very efficient on the mana-wise, so you kind of hate to use it. But when you do use it, at the very first level that you get it, it's amazing. It's almost like a complete heal. Then a warrior gets in your group, and you cast it on them, and it does, like, half a bubble, and you're just like, oh, my God. Like, I'm going to hate this group. But you're also going to love it because it just means that you don't have to heal as often, but when you do heal, you're going to go through 100% of your magic. It's kind of nuts. I hear fighting going on somewhere.
They're probably over in the Royals, maybe?
I don't know. They're very close.
Let me know if one spawns in that upper room. I'm going to bring down another in a minute.
The funny thing about this is if I was playing any other character that I have, I'd have to go up the ramp to see through this little window to see if anything's spawning, and with my ogre, I can see up there just fine.
I can see you too.
This dude is so tall. He doesn't need to stand on his tippy toes. He doesn't need to, jump or go up a ramp. He's already there. He's already touched the highest peak, guys. I don't know. I gotta take what little benefit this guy gets for being tall as I can, because when he is going through this zone in particular, it's kind of rough. I mean, going through tunnels.
It's a death trap for you.
It's not very much fun for people behind me either, because all they see is a giant ogre butt, and the tunnel's blocked pretty much. Like, they can't get around me. And I do try to hug the left side of the wall, which is weird because I guess I should be hugging the right side if you're going by, like, traffic-wise. But, I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of English in me, and I always want to go to the left. Unfortunately, when they run like that and they stop like right there where Cypher managed to snag them, it's a little bit beyond my reach. I can't actually do anything about that.
It's like a T-Rex. Short arms,
Yeah, that was from that, was it the Robinson movie, right? With the little kid? Goes in the future.
Yeah.
He didn't think this plan out very well, or whatever the saying was, because that guy wasn't very smart.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at these torches. It'd be kind of interesting. How do you think that would work in an RPG, though, if you could turn these off? Do you think like more mobs would spawn because it's darker, or do you feel like the mobs wouldn't see you as well, so you could sneak by them a little bit easier, lower their aggro range?
I don't know. That'd be kind of weird. But you could have it where the dungeon has the lights off, and you have a light, and then you could use your torch to turn them on, but they degrade over time, maybe.
See, I like that concept, but like, what would it do for the dungeon when you turn them off, or when they go off on their own? Would that mean you just couldn't see?
Oh well, it would make it harder for you to see, because then you're just going based off of your light that you have available to you.
That could be cool, because if you play games like Morrowind. And what was the other one? The one that everybody knows.
Neverwinter?
Nah, not Neverwinter. The one
Baldur's
after
Gate?
The one with all the dragons that just came out not too long ago, like 3 years ago.
Oh, Skyrim.
Skyrim, there you go. when you went into dungeons, there is that level of darkness to the point where some dungeons you can't see anything. Like literally, it's just pitch black on the screen. You can hear the sounds of the dungeon. If somebody attacks you, you can see like the fireball flying through the night sky right into your face. But that's pretty much it. So you gotta have that light source with you. This one, it had that in the early days, but it doesn't quite have that same effect anymore.
Resisted.
Now that monitors are a little bit different. Or at least that's the reason I was always told, is the monitors of the old days were designed a little differently, so they didn't show as I can't even think right now, but yeah.
It's because you're crouched down in front of a mob that you can't hit.
I came in because that guy was booking it, and I was like, maybe he'll get to the other side, light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. But no, just kind of went in there to watch, crouch, and hit my head a bunch. But he's a big dude, man. He likes his food. He likes his turkey. It's his favorite, man. Turkey, kobolds, they're a little bit of the same thing. I do wish that the trade skills. I mean, I kind of come back to that because I have my brain on that Monster Hunter one, but I kind of wish the trade skills served a bigger purpose in RPGs and MMOs in general. They never really seem like they've ever fully taken off. There's that one guy. We got a spawn here, a shaman, right in the room.
Okay.
There's that one game.
I got something coming
that I kind of got turned on from watching your videos. It's at My Little Blacksmith Shop.
Oh, yeah.
How cool would it be to actually see that sort of system in an MMO where that was your job? Like, that was your character. You weren't a warrior. You weren't a mage. You were a blacksmith. And you actually got people coming in on such a regular basis that you could get that enjoyment out of the game still and have that many customers to where you felt like, if only I could get better materials, I could make even more money.
Oh, I wish they did that more, but I think the only real blacksmithing I've ever seen in a game, well, 2 games, that it was beneficial to be a crafter at all was Everquest 2 with the crafted good armor, and then you had the other Dark Age of Camelot, which if you got legendary armor, it was better than most quested armor, except for Dragon Loot. Dragon Loot and Sodi Loot were the best for it.
But I mean, even in EverQuest 2, when it first came out, guys, just kind of keep that in mind because it changed drastically after a certain point. When it first came out, every 10 levels, you wanted to get a full set of the new gear that you were then able to wear for another 10 levels. But that was not like a full-time job. That was like, ooh, I just got my 10 levels. Let me go buy a full set of gear. Meanwhile, that blacksmith doesn't do anything the rest of the time. Like, he's out hunting and doing stuff. Like, it's not a full-time job for him.
Well, that's not true because there are blacksmiths who do that. But you're talking about an individual who is creating equipment for themselves, that kind of thing.
No, I'm like, people would go out and buy it from an individual who worked his skill, but it's not something that they have to do as much time as you spend leveling. You do not have to spend that much time leveling your trade skills. And I would love to see a game that did it that slowly, so that if you wanted to be an adventurer, you kind of had to choose at the beginning, like, I need to spend 1.5 years leveling, or I need to spend 1.5 years doing my trade skills. Either way, it's going to take me a long time to do either.
Well, there is a game that I have played, and I really haven't invested enough time into it, but it allows you to, you pretty much everything is based off of trade skill. The way your equipment, everything is trade skill. Harvesting, you can sell your harvested goods so that you can make money to be able to. Why is this not affecting that guy? Cannot get him. Okay. It wouldn't snare or anything. But you have to harvest everything, and then you sell it. You can sell your harvested stuff. Like if you get a tier 2 thing that you harvested and you don't need it yet because you're still working on tier 1, you can sell that stuff so that you can make money to be able to buy a farm, and you can raise your own horses, your own pigs, and things like that. Cannot remember where it is. It's an MMO though.
That's another thing too, is that like having your own estate, being able to build it, and being part of the land. That's something they promised with EverQuest 1, you know, the guild halls and being able to have your own personal private you know, area to go to and kind of relax and kind of build it up as time went on through different quests and achievements. I've never seen a game fully integrate that into itself, because I think it's kind of impossible, right? Like if you got 6,000-7,000 people on your server, that's 6,000 or 7,000 homes that have to find a place on a map. And what I've seen a lot of games do, if they even try to have that many, they just have a special map dedicated to nothing but houses.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that in that game you can purchase land, and you can PvP to take people off of land so you can build on it. But that's mostly guilds. Like guild halls are. That's how they run those. Have a mob incoming.
I don't mind the idea of having like all the houses next to one another, if it was done in a way that made sense. Like if you look at games like Destiny, there's a scene where you go to... Have you played that game yet, by the way?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a scene where you're going to the space station, and you're looking over the balcony, and below you is a massive city. Skyscrapers, all twinkling in the light, you know, the darkness. You can see roads cutting through. If you created something like that for an MMO that was based in fantasy, RPG, kind of old medieval age, it'd be the equivalent of building a small village, right, to start with. And as that village got bigger, you'd have the town hall getting bigger, and you'd have certain, you know, amenities springing up around your you know, land, the area that you're you know, charging taxes from because it's being developed. I've never seen a game do that. I've never seen a game change the land itself because of what you're doing. And then, of course, put it in a spot that makes it somewhere that people want to be. A lot of the time when they create these areas that people go to build their houses, it's out of the way, far, far outside the norm traveling routes.
Yeah.
And in RPG games, it's almost the common goal is to progress through the storyline, and as you do that, you go to bigger and bigger towns which have better armor, better weapons, more NPCs that you can talk to. Those areas, that's what I want to see, is right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of a harder zone. You get to build a farmstead, and then maybe sell your old one, and then give that to a new player that he then can go through and develop himself and kind of go through that same process, and then move up to, you know, an even bigger farmstead down the road. But it stays relevant. It stays within an area that you would actually travel and do something with, even if it's, you know, further back because you want something a little bit maybe off of the front lines, maybe like you said, the PvP system in there, but instead of PvP, some kind of player versus environment for those people who don't play on the PvP server.
Yep.
But again, this is like spitballing because I've never seen anybody do it.
The game I'm talking about is Albion Online. I have a pet up there attacking another mob. They should be down in a second.
You know, what's your life, by the way? You're kind of low.
Yeah, that's why I'm using
Albion Online sounds familiar. Did we play that one?
No, I know I own it, but I don't know if you ever played it or not.
I think I might have. You want me to snag that off of you, or are you gonna mez it?
Getting this one up top, and then I'll get this one on me.
All right, let me snag it off of you in the meantime.
Yep, there it goes.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the game, because it does sound familiar.
It's set in kind of the past, and you can okay, let me get this guy again. Sorry. and what you do is you go out. You have tools that the very tutorial is you making your first set of tools, and then you take those tools to harvest things so that you can make your own armor. And if you get to a point where you have enough money, you can buy an actual thing in a town where you can sell goods. Like you have a person who crafts things for you, and you can sell your goods and buy goods and things along those lines. It costs taxes, and if you don't pay your taxes, then somebody else can buy it from you. And and it goes on to an auction block, that kind of thing. It's actually well done, but you have so many people playing that game now that it's hard to find those spots. So if you get one, you don't want to give it up.
Yeah,
and you want to try to craft nonstop.
What do you get for your taxes though? Like, can you go into the city council and say, "Hey, I don't like the fact that you're spending my money on helping the goat herders and all the weird stuff," or like it's just straight up it goes to the system and you lose out on it?
Well, no. The tax is you being able to have that shop in the town at all.
I know, but like, what are the taxes doing? Like, are they actually being incorporated into the game? And the more taxes the area pays, the bigger the buildings get?
I guess you would say that you're not so much being taxed, you're renting the shop. And by renting it, you're getting the revenue from the shop.
So you can't buy the shop. You can never own it.
No. But if you keep up your payments on it, you can keep it, and you can rename it. You can change the color of it, and you can have it sell only the things that you've made. And if there are people that are master craftsmen, which can make everything in the game, armor, weapons, spells, all that, and they can pretty much just sell at those places. Or you can actually own a crafting location, a place where it has anvils, so you could get revenue for people using your equipment, that kind of thing.
So when you make this armor, do you have to be there to sell it, or do you just kind of put it in your shop and you have like an employee that comes in and does it all for you?
You have an employee that it's an NPC employee that does it for you.
Oh, okay. As far as the taxes thing go, I am 100% against taxes in video games. You gotta pay them real loud. I don't want to play them in a video game, but
well, I mean, it's not really a tax. Like I said, it's more of a rent. You're paying to be able to have that shop.
I mean, it comes down to the way you want to look at it. But if it is charging you money, especially if it is in the form of a tax, I would love it in the video game if they were going to improve the surroundings, because as the area is more popular and more people build, places around, that would be cool to see the town hall get bigger and bigger, see some of the the waterworks become a little bit better. Instead of like a little tiny well, it becomes a bigger well, able to supply more water to the surrounding area. Therefore, your farm is able to get bigger because you have more water. Aqueducts, all that kind of craziness put in there. And then as like it's a dangerous area, maybe seeing walls spring up and more NPCs coming to the area because you have it, just a vibrant community of players. I don't know. There's so many things they could do with it if they decided to. I understand it's like a completely different thing than an RPG MMO. Like, people don't play MMOs to play Harvest Moon, but those games, all these different genres, seem to be merging into one end-all be-all. Like, it used to be first-person shooters were just, first-person shooters. Now they're RPG first-person shooters. And then there's adventure first-person shooters that are mixed in with RPG. And, like, all the genres seem to be blurring the lines between just being one thing. Most of them are 3 or 4, if not even more than that, at the same time. And I kind of love Sims. I love being able to go in there and, there's something weirdly satisfying.
Sims is a whole different animal. I mean, playing Sims, you could play that for hours upon hours.
Easily, yeah. I mean, the whole thing about controlling an area and developing it and watching the plants grow digitally and then go out there and try to make it better on the next crop and kind of learn the
Yep.
system that is in place. The same thing with
And
like
you,
Harvest Moon and go ahead.
sorry, I was clearing my throat. The thing about it, The Sims, is that you are literally living through another person,
In a
and
faster
you're
method, yeah.
yeah, in a faster method. But it just it kind of pulls you in that way. One of the things I like to do is just build houses. I'll go in and just build things. It just seems more fun to me.
I like the building. I like the upgrading. I like how, like any game that creates a challenge in any way, I tend to gravitate towards that. But in Sims, for those of you who have never played it before, you take on the role of a character that you create. Now, you can create this character any way you want. The choices are almost infinite. You can create them as a kid, teenager, a young adult, all the way to grandpa's age. You can make them big as far as rounded, skinny, exercising, give them traits, and you can give them family, a husband, a wife, kids, the whole shebang. And then you get to create a house for them. In the house, you can do whatever you want based off of your own particular style. So if you want to make it more like Japanese influence, you can give them that kind of look to it. There's a pop-up on the stairs a little bit off, so he's not going to come down until he starts roaming, but just letting you know that he's here.
Okay.
Yeah, but in the house, you can put down things that will help you increase your skill. So they're like, again, that RPG is mixed into it. Did you bring one with you or no?
Yep.
Okay, I'll wait for him. But yeah, so that RPG is mixed in there with him. So if you want to be a writer and you want to increase your writing skill, you start off with whatever's cheap. Oh, here he comes. So we're going to get both.
Maybe not. Well, yep. Okay. Mezzing them.
Which one, the new one or the old one?
The new one,
I think we're on the new one.
or maybe not.
I think he was assisting me, and I target the new one just to kind of keep an eye out on it. Yeah, so you can get like a typewriter, and you can work on the typewriter. As somebody who actually has written books before, for me,
Oh my goodness.
I like the tactile sensation of a typewriter. So, well, I think we're going to be good, but yeah, you did take some damage there.
Yeah.
But in the game, the typewriter is the simplest form, and therefore you level up your skill a lot slower. So later on, you get like laptops and super virtual reality devices that will help you do things in that game and level those skills up faster. I like that aspect, and the fact that you can have all those in your house, you don't have to choose. You can have the typewriter in one room, and a VR in the other one, and a computer in the other one, and a TV and laptop in your entertainment room, and be living like the bachelor's dream, but you don't have to.
What I usually do is if I wanna last a long time and I want to make a lot of money, I usually have my person be a painter and a book writer, an author, because they're both of them can get a lot of money on consignment, and the books are a weekly payment, so you're always getting paid money.
Well, on top of that, because the way it works in that game anyways, when you make a painting as you level up your skill, you can actually sell that painting. And as you get better, you sell that painting for more. All the other jobs out there, such as like security, let me bind you up a little bit, like security guard, where you have to exercise to level up your skill, you get nothing out of that other than that you gain muscle, and therefore now you can get paid more if you're a security guard or a boxer or whatever it may be. Whereas the writing skills and the painting skills, you make money just for, creating your skills better or getting your skills better.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few that I really like. I always tend to go with a genius build, and like I said, painting. I usually do logic, like chess, because you can make money playing chess as well.
I didn't know that one. I haven't done a chess guy yet.
Yeah, you can get them to a point where they're a master chess player, and you have people come over to your homes if you have a chess set, and you can rise in the ranks. And once you get to the top of the ranks, you get paid for it.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I've tried all
Yep.
of them that I can think of that interest me. I tried, being the lazy guy who didn't take a shower and didn't. It sounds horrible, but like you could make them go down the complete total, like just worst route that you could possibly think of to make the game even more challenging for you. And one of the things about getting better in your job is sometimes you have to have more relationships. You have to have friends. You have to have contacts. It's hard to do when you're the smelly guy that doesn't like to get up, doesn't like to exercise, has no self-esteem, always depressed, doesn't meet very or doesn't get along very well with people. Like all those horrible traits that people usually try to stay away from in that video game, if you give them to one of your Sims, it is hard. It is a very rough playthrough, but it's rewarding if you can swing it. If you can get it to work, and yeah, that's not easy. You probably
Yeah.
don't want to do it your first time around, but man, if you give yourself nothing but good traits, it's a walk in the park. You can actually go and take a walk in the park because you have so much time on your hands, and you don't have to concentrate on just like making friends with people who absolutely hate your guts.
So, how many ways have you killed a person? I mean, come on. You know that we all do it. We play the game to kill people.
I have never killed anybody in that one. The one thing that I actually don't like about the game is that they introduce the thing in there where your guy ages and your guy will naturally die. I hate spending all that time on somebody and then watching them die.
That off.
Yeah, so do I.
Turn that off.
Yeah, so do I. I don't really like that. But for those of you who like that realism, just know that if you are a painter and you are, good with exercising, you have all these traits that you picked out for yourself, and then you have a kid, depending on who the other person is and what traits they have, your kid will develop those mixed combos of traits, and sometimes a random one mixed in there with it, just like it is in real life. But they also develop the same skills. So if you have, like 5 into your strength or, 3 into your knowledge, your kids will be a little smarter right off the bat. So your character doesn't completely go away. So they're trying to show, like you are passing down your genes and your knowledge in some way. But it's not quite the same. Like, it's very weird how they do it.
There's competitions called legacy runs. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. Where what you do is you start with a character. If you remember the very first map, you had the 3 big houses, and you had that one plot that was like open.
Right.
Either way,
our tank is going to take a break for a second, so just let you know.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take a break as well. As far as pulling goes,
yeah, get your life.
Get full health. But anyway, the legacy, the way it works is you buy the biggest plot on the map, no matter what map it is, and you only have that amount of money to build a house.
Well, the biggest plot of land that you can afford, right? Because if you look at the map, there's a huge plot of land right next to the very first mansion, but you can't afford that one. Like, you're 5,000 short.
You can afford the land itself, but you can't afford very much after that. I'm talking about a slight piece of land without anything on it.
I have to look again, but I could have swore the biggest plot of land on the map was outside your price range just for the land alone.
I'll have to double check, but I know the very first map that you get with just Sims 4, or maybe it's Sims 3. I'm thinking Sims 3, but for Sims 3, the very first map, you have the big land right between the 2 mansions. But the whole point of it is that you start out with only whatever's left as far as money. You get a bed, probably get a toilet, and that's it.
Right.
Maybe you have to make a wall, one single wall that you put the toilet against. But anyway, the whole plan is that you can't cheat, can't do anything like that, and you need to try to get as many generations as you can in a certain amount of within that one gameplay. So I think 10 generations is the end of a legacy run.
Well, you can go beyond that, though. Like, you can keep going indefinitely.
Oh yeah, you can go past that. I'm just saying 10 generations completes a legacy run.
Yeah, I never tried doing that. Again, I was always not wanting to kill my guy off, so he just lasted forever. But
Yeah.
there's so many things to do in that game other than to level up your skills and get a job. You can do like gardening. You can learn all the recipes for
Oh
that.
yeah.
You can go to the different places in town. There's like concerts. I mean, that game is really in depth. But what we're trying to get at, besides the going off on like how great that game is, which I definitely enjoyed. I've done a little
I
bit of
don't want
let's
to play
plays on it. Yeah, so do I. Like I'm thinking about it, like, oh
it.
man, if only that was a multiplayer game. I can't go in there with you, man.
Oh man, I wish it was.
That'd be
Oh,
fun.
the next Sims needs to be Sims Online,
That would be cool.
something like that.
I'd play it. I'd play it, but
Wow, this guy has gone all the way through the tunnel with
did he?
resist.
All right, I'll come across the other side. We'll leave this guy here. He'd probably come back and be dead, but I'm coming for you. Oh, we got another one.
Yep. Trying to get my haste on.
Get my big butt through the tunnel. But yeah, I mean, if they could integrate that game into a game like this,
Oh my gosh, this guy's still moving.
I think it would be really epic to experience all that game has to offer. But you got to remember that not everybody's into that type of game, so I wouldn't want it to be mandatory. But those who like
Yeah.
to take advantage of it definitely can. For those of you who like to decorate, the EverQuest 2 definitely took advantage of that. You could have a house. It started off small. You could only have like a very small house, and it never could hold all the items that you would get a hold of. Later on, they gave you mansions, and then later on, they even gave you the ability to have multiple mansions instead of just one that you had to pick. But yeah,
Yep.
you could go in there, you could decorate, and I knew people who I had grouped with who were in my guild, and after they got to a certain point where maybe they got a little burned out on the game, whatever was going on, they got fully addicted to the decorating part of the game. And you could spend
Yeah.
hours upon hours decorating each room to have its own unique look to it. And it was enjoyable. Like, I enjoyed it, they enjoyed it, and it was still part of the same universe. They were still on, and if you saw them in there decorating, you could still hit them up and be like, hey, you want to come over here and raid a dungeon with us? There's decorating loot that drops. You might get a plushie, you might get, a new rug.
Yep.
You gave items everywhere that would give you different things depending on who is interested in what. And I think it's just fascinating to see. Go ahead.
Plus, you could put the what are they called? Like the glowing blackstone, those kind of things.
Oh, the
They're
teleportation
high-
stones?
Well, no, I mean what kind of quests are those called? Starts with an H.
Oh, I know they're not heroic. It's not legendary either. They're the not heretics.
Hero something. Either way, those items those could also be
quests,
put
there
on
you go.
walls.
Yeah, the heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
even like
those-
if you had golden Afridi boots or the dwarven and workman boots, items that were in the original game, like the Haddon's earring, things that people would remember that were very, very useful at some point, but not as useful in the second one because they came up with better items. Then you could take that item, you could wear it, or you could click on it and say make it a house item, and then you could put it up on your mantle and be like, yeah, look at that. Like it's kind of like Halo's
Yep.
helmet. It's something that you can look at and remember fondly, and yet you're not going to use it anymore. So you didn't have to sell it to a vendor, or it didn't take up space in your backpack or your bank. It was something that now went on to your mantelpiece as a remembrance. So I like that. It's very, very cool. Again, it's fascinating to see all these lines blurring together. And where do you think that's going to be one day, where MMOs or VR games, you're not only going to be able to learn real experience on your trade skills, like you're going to actually learn how to do those things in real life because you're getting so close. Like the Wii system, when they came out with all those, like how to do the tennis and everything, like they're horrible because the system just doesn't quite meet where you want it to be if you were actually learning. But I could see it getting to that point. There was a movie I watched when I was a kid, Total Recall, with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
And Sharon Stone's in that movie. And at the very beginning, she's inside their apartment and she's basically learning how to play tennis from a hologram that's actually watching her do it, or using sensors, or however it's working, or supposed to be working in the movie anyways, and telling her that her backhand's not quite right. She needs to turn her wrist 5 degrees and do this and do that.
Yeah.
And when they start putting that stuff into video games at that kind of accuracy, then oh my god, like it's gonna be crazy.
Remember, did you ever see Man on Fire with Denzel Washington?
It sounds familiar.
There's the point where he goes in for the interview to be a bodyguard or to be a driver, and the guy is playing golf with a big screen and and it looked like the ball was actually attached to the ground.
Oh, they got those. They actually have that. The thing has been around for a while, and you can hit the ball. It actually hits the screen, and then it superimposes the ball into the screen, and it shows where it would go normally.
Yeah.
Yeah, those actually exist. They've had that for a good 10, 15 years now, I think.
Yeah, I didn't know about those.
They used to be super expensive, but they're probably fairly cheap now. It's kind of made for people who live in a kind of a tight community, not a lot of space out in the open, and so you still want to play golf, and this is kind of your way of doing it.
Remember Hackers with the first VR kind of stuff that they were doing with Plague? Playing with the two controllers.
Hackers is such a great movie, but it's dated now so badly. I watched it not too long ago, and you know, has Angelina Jolie in it. Has what's the guy's name? He's been in a lot of stuff. I think he was in something not too long ago. But when they talk about the laptop, and they're like, "Ooh, I want this to have my kids."
Yeah,
and they're talking about it has like 126-bit color, and I'm like, wow. I remember when that movie came out and hearing the stats on that computer and just being like, oh my god, those are amazing. Like that's something I'll never have. And now when I listen to those stats, it's like the scene in Johnny Mnemonic where he's upgrading his memory from like 16 gigs to like 32.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so pathetic.
I actually own that laptop.
Which one? The one from Hackers or...
Yeah, the one that Angelina Jolie owned. I have that in the trunk of my car.
Really? That's kind of cool.
Yes.
I had the Dell from the TV show Stargate for a while there, but that one suffered from some of the things that you guys may have seen with future devices that have come out since, where the battery got so hot that it would sometimes explode and melt the lap that it's on. And that laptop was horrible with heat, man. You could never put it on your lap. Don't even think about putting that laptop on your lap. But it was a really good laptop. It did what it was supposed to do, worked extremely well. It was just so hot. But it's kind of cool when you see something you have in the movie. Didn't they paint that one all camo at some point, or was that the guy?
No, that was the guy. He did that to a Compact 8088 kind of computer. But I think it was maybe a different brand. It wasn't Compact.
I'm guessing they didn't get laptops free back then when they did the movies.
Yeah, they did. They probably did for those. That specialty one was was made for something that they never ended up coming out with. The invisible or the see-through one.
Yeah, the see-through one was kind of interesting. I'd never seen one like that in real life.
Yeah, I have never been able to find one.
I'm sure they have.
I've been looking for one.
Watches and everything else, but
yeah. Well, it was just a design that they never went through with, which is kind of sad.
The one thing I could never quite figure out when it came to technology is the cell phones in general seem to be getting smaller as time goes on, but they're not. They seem to kind of stay the same size because all they're really doing to get themselves smaller is they're removing the case, because now apparently everybody just buys their own case instead of having the cell phone just come naturally finished. It's an unfinished product that now I have to go and get a special protection case because the device you made is so pathetically weak that it's going to first get scratched up and then break on me if I don't get one. So yeah, your project is not done. And then on top of that, your battery life on the phones are so pathetic that now I have to go get a giant battery extra little device that I have to attach to your cell phone. So now I'm carrying around a giant brick in my hand that's covered in a giant protective case because
Yeah.
it's supposed to get smaller and it's not. Like, what happened with that? It seems like it's going in reverse.
I don't know. Well, I don't know if you use.
I stay away from Apple altogether. So
Oh, that
if you're
was
going
weird.
where-
My pet was attacking something.
Probably still is. There we go.
So that's not my pet. I'll go ahead and miss them both, and you guys choose which one you want to do.
Yeah, I stayed away from iTunes because that was just a horrible system to work with a long time ago.
Yeah, still is.
I don't know if it's gotten better. I was gonna say.
No, it's I have a cell phone that was given to me, and because of the fact that it's an old email that they can't get, they don't remember the password to. I can't change it to mine.
That's right. You only
And
had so many installs, right?
Yeah, and so we can't even factory reset it to where because of the fact that we can't remember the password.
I hate anything where you buy something and the company thinks that you're not buying it. They think you're just renting the product.
Yeah.
I hate stuff like that. If I don't feel like I can play it 20 years down the road, especially when it comes to video games, there's one that I go back every so often and play. I don't know what it is about the game, but it kind of does something for me. It's called Monkey Island.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It has Guybrush Threepwood on it, and the characters are just so well done, and so much humor is incorporated into that game that even the graphics have gone back and they've upgraded those to create kind of a unique retake on it. But if I thought that I bought that game 20 years ago and I could not play it again because
Yeah.
like I could only own a copy for so long, I'd be just so upset that I probably wouldn't play it. And it's one of my favorite games. So I'm just not even remotely into that whole, oh, you can only put it on 3 systems, and I can't think of how many computers I've had in the last 20 years. I've had a lot more than 3 systems. So that's just crazy.
This phone I was going to use because I was thinking about joining Lyft or Uber so I can make some money while I'm trying to find a job.
Never heard of Lyft before, but I've heard of Uber.
Lyft is something that is competition for them.
I think that would be the yellow cab company, but I think they're going out of business, right? I've heard them not too happy when they come to town with Uber. Have you used?
Yeah, they tried not to let Uber come into Panama City.
Monopolies, man. I don't think you can have them. I mean, kind of, but not really. I don't know. I've never used Uber. I've never used Lyft or any of those other ones. I have used a cab company when I went to Arizona once, but tend to prefer to drive myself. I'm not really big into letting somebody else drive.
Yeah.
Because if I see something that interests me, I was just like, I want to go drive over there and see it. And Arizona was one of the first times I actually got to see mountains or hills. I don't know what you would call them, but it's not flat like Texas. Texas is very flat. And over there it was not. So it was kind of cool to go up and down the hills, and especially in Phoenix. I know I sound like a little kid, but from somebody who's never seen it, it was quite a little joy. But you grew up in Florida, right?
No, I grew up everywhere.
Oh.
I'm a military brat.
So you were completely exposed to all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I graduated high school in Italy.
What kind of countryside was that in the place that you were kind of at? Was it a lot of hills, a lot of mountains, a lot of flat? Or what?
Yeah, it was hilly and mountainy because of the fact that we were up north in Verona, where our tale begins. Romeo and Juliet, guys. Romeo and Juliet.
A lot of vineyards, or like what kind of?
Well, we
production they
lived.
have there?
we live kind of in away from the town, so there is a lot of vineyards. That whenever you opened your window, all you saw was grapes.
That's kind of cool. Oh, we got a pop here.
Okay.
Now, does that affect the smell of the area? Do you smell the grapes? No, nothing.
No, oh my goodness, it looks so amazing. And we're talking about 300-year-old grape fields that have been passed on from generation to generation. They look like trees, except for the fact that they only come up to your waist.
Oh yeah, I know what the vineyards look like. I have a relative in Australia that had their own, but you know, when you said that region, the first thing that came to mind is just the wine, and I was like, maybe he actually got to be around that, because it's very. I'm gonna say romantic, but just the whole area seems to be very steeped in history and tradition, and I kind of like the fact that there are generations of people who have stayed in the same business, and that's kind of rare here in the United States. You don't really see that too often, where if the father was, a shoemaker, the son becomes a shoemaker, and so on. I think there's a lot of knowledge that is lost because of that. I see people who have been in the same industry for, generation after generation, and you go to them for their services. Absolutely amazing. What happened?
I thought I was just healed.
I don't think so. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing to see what they can do, and the pride that they take in it, because they know they're in it for the long haul. They do a good job. You come back, and your kids will come back, and their kids will have a job. So it's just such a nice, refreshing change from some of the other customer services that you'll see in most businesses nowadays. And I'm so tired of talking to cell phones or machines. Like every time I call a business lately, it seems like the machine is the one I'm talking to, and I have to wait for its time because it's more valuable than mine. But I don't know. I'm just I want to punch an answering machine in the face. It's crazy though.
Yeah, it seems companies aren't growing their customer service base, other than just using the phone systems, because that is the worst. I used to have a job where every call that I made or every call that I received was some kind of wait that I had to wait for, and it was always a machine playing really crappy music, or it was really good music, but it was just really crappily recorded.
Yeah, or it's coming across on a cell phone speaker, which is not very good. It's not made for that. Yeah, especially if you have like one of the old phones. Those are really horrible for it. But you notice how they took them out of elevators? You don't have the elevator music anymore, but you have your new version of the elevator music, which is your waiting time music. And it just seems like you could never get away from those horrible songs.
Yep. Well, I used to work for a company taking care of hotels for customers who were having issues. The worst job ever, but it has to be done.
Yeah.
But I call like the Hard Rock. You think Hard Rock they're gonna have good music and everything is gonna be cool. Call the Hard Rock, and their music is good, but it's so grainy and over. It's is he still going? Yeah. So you would call them, and it'd be like breaking up. It's that song is just it. You know what I mean? So it was the worst call waiting for someone to get a hold of, and then finally when you got through, someone was mad because another customer was making them mad, and like, come on, man.
Yeah, I've had my share of bad experiences with it. The best ones that I've seen is Amazon. Anytime I've ever had an issue with Amazon that needed to be called up there, and that's only been a few times. Most of it can be done with emails, but anytime I've actually had to call up there, it was very professionally done and just super nice people. And I could clearly understand what they're saying, no wait time. There is one other system that I kind of like, is when you call up there, and I understand them being busy and like having so many people, them letting you know that it's going to be, an hour and 20 minutes before they can get back to you. If you leave your number, we will call you, and you don't have to sit on hold the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of nice. You know, you don't see it too often, but when they do it that way, like, I appreciate that. I understand, you know, there's a lot of people in the world, and if your company's really bad, you're going to have a lot of those people calling you, complaining.
Yeah.
So, anything that would not make me waste my time.
Let me tell you, one thing I'll never do again is work for a company that deals with people's money. I mean, in the way that, like, you paid for a vacation, you probably saved all this money, and your airline is late, or you're gonna have to lay over for the night because of whatever conditions, and hotel is overbooked itself, and you have to pretty much say, look, you're going to make a room for these people. You have a contract with us, and it just is the worst feeling to just have to take care of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, retail was the worst for me. Thankfully, I've never had to work in a job where I had to deal with people who were upset all the time, but
yeah,
retail was not pleasant for me at all. I'm glad I went into what I went into, but still.
Yeah. Well, that was the easy job I had. I've done where I took care of people's loans because I used to work at Sallie Mae, and I was in the private loan department, which is the worst because I mean it's the last loan option that you have available to you.
Wasn't Sallie Mae one of those that got sued for doing something?
Yep. I was gone before that happened, thank goodness. Actually, probably not. Maybe I would have got a better severance package. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, what ended up happening is our Sallie Mae ended up closing before any of that happened. And so I got a pretty good severance package for them closing down.
I didn't get any severance package when I worked at Bugle Boy and they closed down, like the whole company. But
yeah,
it was the last retail job I had, thankfully. Oh man, Bugle Boy. It was such a great company in the 80s. I like the stuff that they come out with, but they did not make the transition very well over into the 90s or the 2000s.
Yeah.
And now I hear there's another one going out, like J.C. Penney's, I think was the one that's closing down like thousands of stores or something.
Really?
I think it was J.C. Penney's. It might be I think it was J.C. Penney's that I heard. Yeah, well, don't hold me to that one, guys. I will have to look that one up again. But yeah, I could have swore it was JC. I'm just trying because I don't want to like make people think that the company's going out of business if it's not. But yeah, there was one that's closing thousands of stores, and I don't know. It's just online shopping. Online shopping is where it's at. The only couple items that I actually really want to go in and physically touch, and that's either clothing. If you don't know your sizes, and you know, pretty much every company seems to make sizes a little differently. For guys, it's a little bit easier than probably women because of all the sizes women seem to have versus guys. We got Repop over here. The only other thing besides that is...
I got 3 on me.
Is a mouse. We might need to zone it then.
Yep, I'm zoning these. Oh my goodness, let me get past you. So, because I have a mezzed or petted, and hopefully you'll not get attacked.
1, 2. Okay, we got 2.
Yeah. Run it.
They haven't come back yet, so they might just be glitched out. We'll see. But yeah, like a mouse that you use for the computer. Something about the fact that they have so many different sizes out there. You want to find one that's comfortable in your hand, considering how often or how much I actually use mine for gaming and work and all those other things. If you get one too big or too small, it just doesn't quite fit right. So actually physically holding that seems to be the ideal way to do it. But pretty much everything else, I just buy online. Like, it seems so much nicer. You don't have to deal with the traffic, don't have to deal with the crowds, and I can take my time and find the best prices.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're good. We only got 1 extra.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Nothing else came.
Well, I had 1 mezzed, and then I had to fight each other. So, I think the the pet ended up breaking right as I was about to hit the zone line.
So I'm bind up here. But I think on that note, guys, we're going to go ahead and end this episode. I do want to thank all of you guys for watching. The topics have been pretty weird tonight. Not really game related. We got off the tracks a little bit, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember, all the statements that we have made tonight are on Cypher Deck. So if you guys do not like him, Cypher Deck is the guy you got to.
What? Hey,
he is the call help guy. He definitely likes customer support. He loves that part. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Just remember, it is just personal opinions. You're more than welcome to disagree with us. And if you do, let us know in the comments. We actually love to hear different sides of argument, or at least I do. And, yeah, words, guys. Leave them down below.
Is he running in place on your screen?
No, he's still good on mine. Till next time, guys.
Like and subscribe, guys.
Hey guys, and welcome to the disembodied voice of AC Gamer. We are definitely going to be doing a lot more series in the future, but here are a few of them that you guys might find interesting. Of course, you're more than welcome to check them out. I would love to hear your comments. Again, if you do enjoy these videos, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe. It's definitely the indicator that I use to tell if you guys want to see more videos like that, of that particular game style, of that series in the long run. So when you guys leave comments down, it helps me decide whether we should keep doing it, as well as whether you want to see games like that in the future. And here are a few of them right here. I kind of picked out a few of different genres. We will be doing spotlights for other YouTubers in the future. So if you want to get a little shout out, definitely let me know. If you group with me, chances are you will get a shout out in here eventually. But for now, these are just 4 series that I have that I feel like could use a little bit more attention, and that you guys might actually enjoy as well. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we will definitely catch you all next time.